keep going, I want to thank one of our sponsors, our sponsor, First Amendment Voice. I recently hosted an interview about having difficult conversations with Steve Miska. Hopefully you listened to that one. That was back on the 4th of July holiday weekend. Steve runs a nonpartisan nonprofit called First Amendment Voice, which they're going to host their annual, now virtual symposium again in September. Steve is offering free attendance for any of our listeners. So simply go to the registration page in the show notes and use the promo code DYSN, as in double your sales now, right? DYSN. You can attend the symposium for free. You can also get a free year's membership and the possibility to attend a difficult conversations workshop with me, which we're sponsoring for free as well. So again, you can find the link in our show notes. And just with everything that's going on in the world right now, I know people are having a lot of challenging conversations, and we just want to support people in having positive conversations and being able to share their opinions without feeling attacked or without being afraid, so that we can have very powerful dialogue that moves our country forward. So there you go. Hope you can join First Amendment Voice at their event. Hey everybody, welcome back to Double Your Sales Now. I'm super excited to be with you today, and today you just get me. It's a solo show. And today I'm going to be talking about how to 2x your sales this year and shave off 10 hours of your work week. So if that sounds exciting to you, I invite you to grab a piece of paper and a pen and get ready to take some notes, because I guarantee that you're going to have some action steps as we go. The reason I felt compelled to do this show is because we get this question a lot. My first book, Selling with Intention, was all about doubling your sales and getting to that next level. And we've helped many clients double and triple their sales. And so I often get the question on interviews or from clients like, what does it really take to double or triple your sales? What's the magic formula? And the truth is, there isn't a magic formula, but there are certainly steps that you can take, simple and clear steps that you can take that'll take your business and get you to that double that you've been dreaming about. I also have people come up and say, hey, I want to 10x my revenue. I want to have these big gains. And while I think that's possible, and I know people who've done it and we've helped clients do it, sometimes wrapping your head around a 10x can be kind of stressful, or like really requires you to step out of your comfort zone in a way that you might not be ready to do. And so 2xing your sales can be the way to get started first, and then 2x again and again, and pretty soon you've 10x your sales. So it kind of depends on how you want to get there. I will tell you though that a 2x is still a big deal. Doubling your sales is a really big deal. If you're a business that's at $200,000 a year and you get to $400,000 a year, that's kind of a game changer. You're at $500,000, you get to $1 million. That's a pretty big deal. So I don't want to minimize the power of 2xing your sales and what that can do for you. So we'll talk about all of those things today. I'm excited to announce, and this has been on my mind, it's one of the reasons I wanted to do this show, that we're also launching a new course called the 2X Intensive. So you get to come and spend 2 days with me and with Rebecca Hall, our master coach, and we're going to help you create a model month template to actually double your sales and dig into what it's going to take to create that intentional schedule to get rid of those extra 10 hours so you can work less. So if that's of interest to you, beyond what I share today, you can go to salescoachnow.com/apply and fill out a quick sheet. It's really not an application, but it does have some questions regarding where your business is right now and what you want to work on to make sure that the class is a fit for you. So salescoachnow.com/apply, send your information to us and we'll get you all the information really quickly on what the course is all about and how you can come and participate. So I hope that you'll take that step because we'd love to have you. Today, though, we're going to dig in. What does it really take? And we're still in a pandemic, right? The world is still in a pandemic. COVID-19 is still here. And so a lot of people have the belief that, it's not possible to 2x their sales this year. They've let go of that dream. And that's another reason I want to do this show, because the thing is, we have clients who are having some of their best months ever. And my company is actually tracking to have its best year ever as well. And I've really blown the top off my own limiting beliefs about what was possible this year. And so I'm going to challenge your limiting beliefs as well about what you can do and what's possible between now and the end of this year. We're going to take you through 5 steps. So I'm going to take you through 5 steps to really 2x your revenue. And these are some of the most powerful steps that you can take to move you in that direction. And there's also nuances and there's little pieces that I want to add in to make sure that, you know, you can see what the path might be and what you need to do to get there. Now, I don't want to I love simplifying things, but I also want to say that it's not always easy. If it were easy to 2x your sales or 10x your sales, everyone on the earth would be a trillionaire, right? And we're all not everyone's a trillionaire. So why is that? And where do we get stuck? And I'm going to talk a little bit about that today as well, because while these 5 steps are very simple and they're very clear, there are places along the way that people get stuck or that people get stopped. And we see it happen with our clients. And that's why coaching is really powerful, because we help our clients get unstuck and we help them get moving. So I'll share some of those things with you today as well. Okay. All right. So the first step in our 5 steps that we're going to go through today to really 2x your revenue, the first step is to make a decision. Now, you've heard me say this before and you're like, oh, like, that's not what I'm looking for. Like, I want strategies. We'll talk about some strategies, but here's the thing. Without the right mindset in place, you can't double your sales. You can't triple your sales. You'll stop too soon. And if you're not all in, meaning if you haven't burnt the bridge or the backup plan, right, to go back to what you were doing before, you're not going to get there. And so the first step is to make a decision and get all in. And that could just be as simple as saying, you know what, no matter what, I'm going to make this happen. I am going to 2x my sales. Here's the powerful thing that happens once you make a decision. The second you are all in, okay, and you've burned the backup plan, the way to get there starts to show up. Now, this is really tricky for people because we all want to know the how. We want the way first, and then we'll be like, oh, now I'm all in. But you don't get the way first. You have to decide first. And for me, I can tell you in my own business development, that was stressful. Like I didn't wrap my head around that for a long time. And I wasted a lot of time trying to grow my own business. I was really good at growing other people's businesses. I was really good at, running companies, growing $1 million lines of revenue, especially when it was someone else's product, right? And as soon as I became the company and the product, all my stuff came up. All my limiting beliefs came up. And I'm guessing some of you can relate to this. So that first step is to truly make a decision that you are all in, that no matter what, you're going for it, you're going to figure it out. So in this moment, as you're listening to me, I want you to check in and just ask yourself, like, am I all in? Have I made a decision that no matter what, I'm going to 2x my sales? Because if you haven't, then stop listening to this for a moment, put me on pause, and I want you to dig into what's the block, okay? What's the block that's showing up for you? Because there's something there. And the other thing I want to say is that, there's things that I'm going to share today that you've heard before, or you've heard a version of them before, and your tendency will be to discount them. Like, I've tried that, I've been there, I've done that, I know that. But as one great coach once said, who was a mentor of mine, he said, the true test of knowing something is actually doing it and getting results. And if you're not doing this and getting the results you desire yet, then something is off. And I just invite you to open up to that, right? Like, open up to what's stopping you. For a lot of our clients, we hear things like, I don't think I deserve it. And that one breaks my heart, because we all deserve it. Every single human on this planet deserves to live a rich and prosperous lifestyle. And rich could mean a lot of things. It's not always a lot of money. It's not always a big house. It's not always that fancy car. Like, rich could just mean a freedom of time. Rich could mean that you don't have to report to somebody else every day. Rich, could mean you have enough to eat, right? Like, for some of us, rich means very simple things. And so whatever rich means for you is fine. That's perfect. Like, there's no judgment around it, right? Like, I just want you to get clear on the fact that you do deserve it. You are enough, and it's okay to make a decision that you're going to 2x your sales. The other thing we hear a lot is that beyond the I don't deserve it is that, I don't think I can, or I don't have the right qualifications or the right certifications. I was talking to a client recently, and, she said to me, do you think I should get this one more certification? Do you think that would help me? She's a very successful businesswoman. And without skipping a beat, I said, no, not if it's because you think you need it to get more clients. If you want another certification because you want to expand your business in some way or learn something new, or, and there's a lot of good reasons behind it, and or you're in an industry that requires it, that's different. But if you're getting one more certification because you think you need it to deserve it, to feel better, or to think your clients will pay you at a different level, I'd really check into that, especially if you already have evidence and proof that your clients are paying you. So there's a lot that's wrapped up in making a decision and getting all in and deciding that you're worth this. And so, take a minute and just ask yourself, do I believe I can? Do I believe I'm worth it? Do I deserve this? And if you're getting stuck there, that would be a place to spend some time before you keep going. Okay. If instead you're pretty close, you're like, oh yeah, I can see it. I don't know if I'm struggling with the I am enough, and yet I want this really badly, then desire will always trump the other things. So I want to say that again. If you have a high desire to 2x your sales, that will always trump the fears or the unworthiness that's below. And we can work on that stuff, right? So if your desire is super strong right now and you're like, Ursula, I don't know how I'm going to get there. I worry about if I have enough of these things, but my desire is much greater than the fear and other thing that's there. Then it's a go. Then it's a green go for it, because the rest of the stuff starts to work itself out. And in my own life, oh my gosh, I am a work in progress. And there were so many pieces that I needed to personally work on to believe that, I personally deserved a lot of money, could make a lot of money, could do great things with a lot of money, could encourage my clients to make a lot of money. I worked on those things, but my desire was much higher than the fear and other pieces below it. So desire will take you faster. So make the decision and start to feel that burning desire that's inside of you. Napoleon Hill, in his book, Think and Grow Rich, talked a lot about desire and that burning desire. And that truly can be the thing that'll push you through on those toughest days when you want to stop. Okay, so first step in our 5 steps to 2x your sales, decision, right? Make the decision and get all in. The second step is then to confront your number one limiting belief and shift it. I love being in this space, right, of shifting limiting beliefs and letting them go. So once you decide to 2x your business, I want you to think about that stretch goal for yourself, okay? And then notice, what's the first limiting belief that pops up that says you can't do this? It's not possible. It can't happen during COVID. It's not going to happen during a pandemic. No one's buying right now, right? Just notice that limiting belief, okay? Because we're going to shift it. So let's play with this one about the pandemic, because it's come up a lot for our clients. We've helped them move through it, and now they're out there having their potentially best year yet, okay? So that belief that we're in the middle of a pandemic, there's no way that I can reach my stretch goal or have my best year yet. The next step is to look at what's not true about that limiting belief. What's not true about it? Well, what's not true about that limiting belief right now is that some people are having their best years ever in business. Money is still circulating. Innovation is happening everywhere, right? We've innovated, we've changed a lot of things in our company. It's allowed us to grow internationally much faster. So when you start to look at what's not true about that limiting belief, it starts to fall away. And then you can create a new belief. And right now, the new belief could be, I am 2xing my sales in the middle of a pandemic, right? I'm having my best year ever in the middle of a pandemic. I'm crushing it in the middle of a pandemic. We have clients who are saying it, who are living it. We're saying it, we're living it. Say it with it, us, live it with us. Because once you see what's not true about the limiting belief, you can shift it to this new belief. Now, if you want to supercharge that new belief, here's my challenge for you. And we just had a lot of our clients doing this process, is to write it 20 times every morning, right when you get up. Okay, or right when you get to your office before you turn your email on, everything else. Write your new belief 20 times every morning. And once you write that new belief, you can start to look for the evidence that that new belief is true. So evidence might be things like a new client shows up out of the blue, you get a referral, you get a speaking engagement you didn't expect, right? A sale just comes through, you find money on the ground. That's always fun for me because when I find money, it's like a sign that more money's coming. And it's hard to find money right now, right? There's a coin shortage, but I've been finding coins everywhere. I give them to stores. I'm like, do you need these? Here's some pennies. Do you need these? So the money starts to show up. The evidence that this new belief is coming true starts to show up. So watch for the evidence, okay? So that was step number 2, is to confront your number 1 limiting belief about why you can't have it. Look at 3 things that are not true about it, and then shift it to a new achieving belief. And then write that belief every single morning 20 times. Do that for 30 days and see what happens, okay? And here again, I want to jump in a little bit. Well, this is easy, right? These are clear and easy steps. It might not be easy to make it happen every day. So the question is, how will you make sure it happens every day? Is it going to be on your calendar? Is it going to be a reminder because you're going to have a journal out in front of you? Like, what will remind you to do it every single day? Okay. All right. Step number 3. Once you have your double revenue goal, then you start to work backwards from the end result. Okay. So let's say your goal, like right now, your annual revenue is $250,000. So if you doubled your sales, it'd be at $500,000. Just easy math, right? So $500,000 in annual revenue. And, you know, we only have a certain amount of months between now and the end of the year. So you could create this goal over the next 12 months, whatever works for you. All right. Once you have that goal, I want you to start to work backwards from the end result. Okay. So often what we have our clients do is imagine that they've created the goal. So actually step into it and imagine that, you know, you're now tracking at 44, 83 is $1 million, 83,000 a month would get you to $1 million, right? So about half of that. So we'll use easy math. So say 40,000 a month to get you to 500,000. It's not exactly right, but I want to use easy math. All right. So 40,000 a month, right? That's my new sales stretch goal. Imagine that it's the end of the month, okay? And so imagine it's the end of September, you've had your first $40,000 month, like you did it, you stuck with it, and it happened, okay? So a fun thing to do is to actually imagine that you're in a moment of celebration. So it's the end of the month, I'm out to dinner with my spouse, I'm celebrating, I'm sharing with him that I just had the most incredible month I could have imagined. Imagine yourself telling him about it. Like actually imagine you're there in the moment, in the restaurant having dinner, right? You can taste the dinner, you can smell the food, you can hear the sounds around you, and you really immerse all of your senses in that moment. Imagine you're sharing your story, okay? And then from that, what I call future version of yourself, you can imagine backwards. So then you imagine a timeline that goes all the way back to when you first did the visualization, right? And from that timeline 30 days earlier, just imagine you can see the first 1 or 2 steps that you took that were outside your comfort zone. I talk a lot about that in my book, The Belief Zone, right? To move from your comfort zone to a new belief zone. And so just imagine, like, what are the first 1 or 2 steps that I took to get there? Because your subconscious is very powerful all the time, but also very powerful when you reverse engineer your goal. And when you imagine you can see back, and you look at those first 2 steps, it's like, you know what the first 1 or 2 steps you took were to reach your stretch goal. It could be things like, I increased my prices. It could be things like I let go of certain programs that no longer fit or products that we didn't want to sell anymore. It could be things like we stopped working with clients who weren't a good fit for us, who, you know, didn't appreciate our products or services or just wasted our time, right? Because when you say no to prospects who aren't a good fit, that means you're saying yes to your top 20%. We changed our marketing. Could be that you started marketing consistently, right? You know to do it, but it doesn't mean you do it. We started marketing on social media. And part of up-leveling and doubling your sales is to get really, like, look at those first 1 or 2 steps that you could take, and then like up-level that even more. So how would you really push your marketing? And we talk a lot about in our community, having 3 consistent ways to market, right? So maybe it's social media, maybe it's easy in marketing, maybe it's picking up the phone, just making phone calls, maybe it's cold calling. but really up-leveling what you're doing and getting more and more appointments on the books or more speaking engagements on the books or whatever it is that you used to sell, getting more of those, right? Really taking that to the next level, because that's going to start to give you the momentum to move forward, okay? So again, it's imagining that your amazing month has happened and then reverse engineering. How did I get here? What did I shift? What did I let go of? And when you do that exercise with yourself or with a team member, it's so powerful because it'll start to reveal exactly how to get there. We love to also create a model month template with our clients. What does that model month look like? So if the number is 40,000, and your average sale is 2,000, okay, that would mean you'd have 20 sales to get to your goal of 40,000. If your closing ratio is 50%, meaning half the people you meet with become your client, you would need to have 40 appointments on the books to get there. That's a stretch, but you could do it. And maybe your closing ratio is higher than that. Or this is where you start to get creative and you look at what could I do that we haven't done before? Maybe you put an event on, so you have 40 people on a virtual event and half of them become your clients. Well, that was one meeting versus 20 or 40, right? To get to your goal. So start to play with all the different ways that you can get there. And it'll kind of blow your mind, especially when you reverse engineer from reaching the goal and you really reverse engineer. It's amazing what your subconscious can come up with and what starts to reveal itself. Well, then, yes, I'm looking at my notes. So we're going to work backwards from the end result, come up with the ideas, and then start to implement them as quickly as you can. Which ties to our fourth step, an intentional schedule. If you're going to take 10 hours off your work week, meaning you're going to grow your sales and work less, the only way you can do that is if you have an intentional schedule. And I talked a lot about this in my book, Selling with Intention, right? You want to have a clear, intentional schedule of what you're doing every single week. I will tell you that a lot of our clients push back on this and have a lot of resistance about their time, which I get because most of us got into business because we want more freedom. And yet, when you do the most important things first, the things that move your company forward, the things that move your revenue forward, when you do those first every single day, you'll actually find that you have more time in your day, okay? So build an intentional schedule where you'd be working 10 hours less per week. For example, let's say in a given week, you typically end your day at 5 o'clock. So you do 8 to 5, 5 days a week. And a lot of times you're just sitting at your desk, kind of spinning your wheels, right? Doing that busy work feels good, but doesn't get you anywhere. What if instead, okay, you took off 2 hours a day. So you ended your day at 3 instead of 5. That's 10 hours that you've just removed. Now bear with me because some of you are panicking. You're thinking, oh my gosh, less time. When you have less time in your schedule that's available to get things done, you actually get more done. It forces you to take on those priorities first, the ones that move your business forward, that move the dial in your business, rather than all the other stuff. It forces you to delegate more to your team. If you don't have a team, it forces you to hire a virtual assistant, at least someone to do a little part-time work to get it off your plate so that you can start to move the dial in your business. My other coach, Rebecca Hall, one of our master coaches at Sales Coach Now, does a phenomenal exercise on time management. And she recently did it with one of our clients and really helped our client prioritize those top areas to focus on, right? Those things that she needed to get done every single day. And she reported so quickly, she's like, business is moving forward. I have way more time in my day. So that's how you start to get those 10 hours shaved off of the week so that you can move it forward. One of my favorite books by my mentor, Brian Tracy, is called Eat That Frog, right? I'm sure a lot of you have heard of it, you've read it. And the idea is to do the things, the frogs, right? Eat the frogs you don't want to eat first. So do the things you don't want to do first in the day. That move the dial forward, that move the business forward. Start to do that every day. For a lot of you, that's sales stuff, right? It's picking up the phone. It's making sales calls. It's the marketing stuff. I hear you. I run into those same pain points and it's not fun. Like I got to push myself to do certain things, like certain marketing copy or certain sales pieces that maybe are outside of my comfort zone too. But once I get into them, I start getting them done. Not only do I feel it feels amazing to check them off, but I'm moving the dial forward. The business is moving forward. Okay. All right. The fifth step in our 5 steps to 2x your sales is to begin to see the evidence that you are on the way and to keep taking the steps that show up. So you're going to keep seeing steps in front of you. Once you create your stretch goal, the model month, and where you want to go, the steps will start to show up. The question is, are you going to step into them, or do you stop yourself? Do you stop yourself? Do you fall off the wagon of your new schedule? Do you not follow through on the marketing? Do you not follow up with your clients enough times to get the yes to move that forward, right? So your job is to keep going and taking the next steps. And at the same time, on a positive note, to start to watch for the evidence that your 2x is on its way. And again, that evidence is, seeing the numbers growing, seeing new prospects showing up, maybe a new potential referral partner shows up, a speaking engagement shows up, like things start to show up. And I encourage you to write those in a journal so that you can keep track of all the great gifts, because I believe those are gifts that are coming to you that are moving you to your 2x. I also want to give you a word of caution. You're going to hit roadblocks. Whenever we're in what I call a quantum leap, and a 2x is definitely a quantum leap, stuff's going to show up. And it might be like, I had this happen recently. We're in an up level in my business, and my new used car, the engine light went on and it overheated. And it's one of those moments where I was like, what happened? It all turned out fine because I have a great warranty on it. Everything was great. But at the same time, it's one of those things that could have emotionally taken me off track, because what's happening? And a lot of things happened that week that could have been perceived as negative. My favorite thing to say is, isn't that interesting? And to let it go, right? Just, isn't that interesting? Let it go, keep going. So for the 5 steps again, make the decision that you're all in. You're going to 2x your sales. Confront your number 1 limiting belief about it and shift it. Third, work backwards from the end result and see the steps that show up for you, right? And start to take those steps. Number 4, create an intentional schedule that supports your 2x. And finally, start to keep track of the evidence that's showing up that shows you that you're on your way to reaching your 2x, and keep moving through it. Even when things happen that maybe don't support it and could take you off track, keep going. So that's it for now. I just want to encourage you to 2x your sales. Step into that. If you want extra support, go to salescoachnow.com/apply and just send us a little bit of information, and we'll send you information about the 2x intensive that's coming up soon. All right, everyone, listeners all over the world, we appreciate you, and we wish you your most incredible month yet. Thanks, everybody. Bye for now.